Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, October 14th. So today we have the moon in Aquarius all day. We did get a little bit of a taste of it late last evening, but for the most part, yesterday was very unstable, very kind of confusing, and we didn't really get a good dose of what the moon in Aquarius is supposed to provide us with. So let's talk about that for a second. What is the moon in Aquarius? Well, the moon in Aquarius helps us to recognize when the moon was in Capricorn, where it is that we feel held back, blocked, where it is that we're facing obstacles, where it is that we're facing challenges, especially in letting go of the past. The moon in Aquarius is here to free us, to liberate us from those restrictions and really kind of help us emotionally detach from the very intense situations that we've been in order to act as the observer, to see a new path emerge, to see a new possibility really take form, especially when we are future focused. And the moon in Aquarius has our heart set on what it is that we want to be experiencing in our future versions of ourselves. So we have a lot of energy really kind of detaching us emotionally in the heart space and really kind of revving us up in the mental plane in order for us to sort through details, information, perspectives, really see a fine line being drawn in the sand of where it is that we have been blocking ourselves from moving forward by staying so deeply connected and attached to the past. We have 6 different aspects taking place today, which is actually a very calm day in the cosmos. And 6 of them are going to involve the moon. So it is going to be a very moody kind of day. Here's the thing. The Aquarian energy would rather be independent in our efforts to try and problem solve and find solutions that not only will help us as the individual, but will also help the collective. We are awakened to a new idea, new inspiration that we have to kind of rattle through on our own. So here's the thing, we're still in Libra season. That sun in Libra wants us to be connected to other people, wants us to be socializing, wants us to be working on our one-on-one personal relationships. And the moon in Aquarius really doesn't want us to do that. Wants us to kind of, go off on our own and dance to the beat of our own drum and recognize that we care for other people. We want to come up with solutions that will help ourselves and other people, but we're not going to find those solutions being bombarded by other people's energies. It's really important that we just kind of wander. We do what it is that we're being guided to do, and we sort through the mental plane and the heart space on our own. So there is that push and pull there. Now, right out of the gate, the moon in Aquarius makes a little bit of a tension point with Neptune, who of course is still retrograde in Pisces in his place of power. Neptune energy is our spirit, our soul, our intuition, our karma. It is our dreams, our imagination. And the moon in Aquarius, again, emotionally detaching from what is here in the present moment to think about our futuristic versions of our reality that we're trying to manifest. This particular tension is kind of an amplification of pressure that is very much needed in order for us to sort through a different plan. Of course, we're taking downloads from our intuition. We're dreaming a bigger dream. We have a knowing that we are preparing for a brand new chapter. And for the most part, we have had some illuminations that our plans need to be revised. And again, with Mercury still retrograde, that is the name of the game. So this little tension point is really going to put our headspace at odds with our la imaginary land headspace. Our intuition is going to be a little bit in a conflict in our heart space because, of course, we want this dream. We have fixated on this dream for so long that it actually pains us to have to re-edit and reorganize and restructure our strategy moving forward. But we have an aha moment when we really kind of apply our facts in the here and now to the facts coming in through our knowing of our intuition, that we're able to kind of blend these energies together and really come up with a new idea on what that vision is now going to look like based off of the information that we've already received, that now we have to kind of factor in to our plans moving forward. So the moon in Aquarius is going to come up to, sit next to, conjunct Saturn, who is now direct in Aquarius. So anytime that we have planets sitting next to one another, the energy is intense, it's amplified. The moon, of course, is our emotions, our intuition, our subconscious self. The Saturn energy that is just trying, Saturn's not even moving forward at this particular point in time. He's still in his post-shadow period, which means that he needs a little bit of time to get up to speed. So he is waking up. It's kind of like when you wake up in bed and you realize, oh, I'm not dreaming anymore. I'm alive. I'm in reality, but you're not quite awake yet. You're not moving. You're not even functional at this point. You're just cognizant and aware that you're no longer in dreamland, but you're no longer yet in a place where you're ready to function either. So it's kind of just this peaceful realization that we're going to have to get our ass in gear, but we're not doing it just yet. So the moon conjunct Saturn. Saturn is all about, well, for the last, like I said, 5 months, he's been retrograde, showing us where it is that we have to destroy old patterns, old foundations, old behaviors, old dreams, old ideas. Why? Because they're no longer in alignment to what it is that our heart and soul wants for us. Now with Saturn direct, we get to start taking action. We get to start building better foundations, better systems, better routines. We get to implement new ideas, new goals, new visions, what it is that we have to do in order to build the bridge from where it is that we are to where it is that we want to be. But Saturn is the Lord of Karma, and he does want to really kind of drive home those tough love life lessons. And he does have a tendency to be negative Nancy and kind of bully us through love, of course, break us down through love, of course, in order for us to be inspired to break through in a brand new way. So we can kind of expect that this is going to be very intense. We are likely going to be illuminated, especially emotionally and in our headspace, where it is that we're coming up to walls. We are trying to calculate our plans moving forward. We're trying to put things together, but we just can't get past this certain thing, this certain idea, this certain vision, this certain goal. And mostly it's because the foundation of whatever that idea, goal, or dream or vision was based on, it's not strong enough to be built on. We're going to have to rip that foundation down and build it up in another better way in order for us to actually move forward. And it's not going to feel good. We're going to feel a little bit frustrated, a little bit intense, a little bit negative Nancy, because of course our emotions are very intense, sitting next to the Lord of Karma, trying to remind us, well, you were supposed to learn that life lesson. Did you learn anything about that? How are you still on this particular train of thought, vision, or dream, when you just learned that that's probably not the best thing for you, right? It's a little bit, there's a very deep, dark, sarcastic kind of undertone to our narrative, because we know better, but we're not aligned right now to actually do better. We're still kind of overly attached to trying to make the old way of our dreams and visions actually manifest. We're kind of too connected to that being the only way to see things happen. And of course, the Aquarian energy wants us to think bigger, brighter, and better than ever before, and be progressively innovative on how it is that we come up with some solutions to, of course, these walls that we keep banging our heads off of. The moon's going to go ahead and make a beautiful aspect with Venus. And Venus is in Sagittarius right now. You might be able to feel that lighter energy, especially, trying to figure out where it is while Venus was in Scorpio, illuminating our shadow parts, our fears, our vulnerabilities, our insecurities, our overwhelming passion and intensity to unify with someone. Now with Venus in Sag, she's very direct, She's very blunt. She's very positive, very confident. She would rather look forward than to look back. She's very future focused. She's bouncing around all kinds of ideas, especially where her relationships are concerned, where her resources are concerned, where her money matters are concerned. Of course, trying to put herself in a situation to be a little bit more fun and fancy free, doing a lot of things that invoke the feelings of joy instead of the pain and suffering, the pain and trauma that we have all been kind of too overwhelmed with. And so the moon in Aquarius, harmonizing the energy with Venus being in Sag, this is great because we get to capture a vision and a dream of what it is that we want to see change for ourselves in our personal relationships, in the way that we're making money, how we're using our skills and talents to make money. And of course, we're re-editing, re-strategizing our plans moving forward. And this is a very positive, very optimistic, a high vibe energy. Caution, Venus in Sag tends to be a little bit extra. So we might dream too big of a dream. We might want more than what it is that we can actually and realistically obtain. We tend to just bite off more than we can chew, but that's not a bad thing at this point because many of us have been on the opposite side of the spectrum, staying in situations that are beneath us, that are holding us back, that are keeping us in a state of paralysis. So maybe giving ourselves permission to just go full spectrum the other way when it's time to come back down to earth and find a new center point will be in a lot healthier of a situation, especially identifying what it is that we want, need, and desire, especially now that we've identified a new value and a new worth that we have kind of activated within our own selves. And of course, now we want to see reflected in our physical realms, in our personal relationships. The moon in Aquarius is going to make a beautiful aspect with Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer, and this is a beautiful opportunity to see the growth that we have definitely gone through, the expansion taking place in our heart space and our head space on aligning with what is possible. Chiron, of course, wants to remind us where it is that we have done the work to heal certain things, where we have stood up for ourselves, where we have spoken our truth, where we have really changed the game on what is possible for us moving into the future based off of the actions and the behaviors that we have chosen to take in the here and now. So this is kind of like a beautiful energy for us to really kind of anchor ourselves into, because we didn't think that we were ever going to be in this situation. Think back to last week, last month, last year. Did you think you were going to be here? And even if you're in some unpleasant circumstances, which most of us are, we are moving into the last phase of Libra season. This is a time to bring everything together, to bring the extremes together, the dualistic points of view together. This is a time where we harmonize the good with the bad and we become grateful. We step into the attitude of gratitude for having another beautiful grounding center point, a balance point, stability. You know, we might not have all the answers right now. We're still lacking clarity, but damn, we are making progress. And the moon bumping into Chiron is really going to illuminate the progress in which we've already made. We get another huge help when the moon in Aquarius trines, beautiful energy, trining, harmonizes the energy between the moon and Mercury, who is retrograde in Libra. And let me tell you, we only have a couple days left of Mercury being retrograde, thank goodness. And the moon in Aquarius right now, of course, acting as the observer, seeing different paths kind of unfold, different opportunities and options and choices be available now that weren't available even 3 days ago. The moon in Aquarius trining with Mercury, who rules over our mental plane and our communications, especially where relationships are concerned. This is a beautiful opportunity to definitely see the progress be made, not only in speaking our truth, not only in doing what is right and doing what is fair, but in rearranging our mental narratives to be focused on what is possible in the future, based off of whether or not we are going to boss up and advocate for ourselves here in the present moment. We have a tendency when the moon and Mercury get together to speak up, to speak out on our feelings, to communicate very clearly, very confidently what it is that we've been realizing within ourselves, what it is that we have to express now because we've had these aha moments. And it's a beautiful opportunity to do so because, of course, the moon in Aquarius is emotionally distant, emotionally detached. We're able to have this emotion and have this communication and conversation without it triggering us in a way that it would even 2 days ago. We're able to, act as the observer, speaking from a place of observation instead of a place of being triggered by the ego. And of course, Mercury being retrograde, this is likely going to bring up some topics from the past that we have to provide an ending, clarity, or closure on. And again, reminder that when Mercury goes direct, we will have to probably have some heart-to-hearts that are going to help clarify some of the messy conversations that have taken place while Mercury was retrograde. Lastly, we have the moon making probably the toughest aspect throughout the day with its own ruler, Uranus. So the moon in Aquarius squares Uranus, who is retrograde in Taurus. And like I said, Uranian energy rules over Aquarius, the great awakener. It shocks us. It throws a disruption into our lives. It shakes things up. It provides us with an opportunity to see what is not stable. And because Uranian energy right now is retrograde in Taurus, it is shaking up our relationships. It is shaking up our resources, our money matters, our jobs, our income. It is shaking us up to see how it is that we can use our skills and our talents in a different way to create a different stream of income without relying on these foundations, these systems, these very integrated structures that we've been overly attached to for far too long. Many of us are in a situation right now where we're losing our jobs, we're losing our resources, we're losing our financial stability. Uranian energy is meant to not shake us up and disrupt us to try and punish us, but to show us where a new opportunity is actually being presented to us to take what it is that we have been doing and present it in a different way, to take it to a different platform. The Uranian energy is going to create a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion in us, especially in our head space, in our heart space, because we're uncomfortable. We know that we're on the brink of change, and change isn't something that too many of us appreciate, enjoy, or eagerly look forward to. And this Uranian energy that has been in Taurus for a couple of years now and will continue to be for years to come, this is on the global collective showing us new resources where money is concerned, agriculture, food, banking, all of these systems that we have been watching crumble to the ground. It's not because they want to punish us. It's because New Earth is going to require us to put the pieces to build foundation systems that are actually supporting the human collective instead of just supporting the 1%ers. So this is likely the time of day, and I'm going to say like early evening-ish for many of us, where we start to realize the disruption that's going on in our lives when we, just totally sit back and just realize the chaos that's taking place in our lives, the confusion in our heart space and in our head space, the overwhelming want, need, and desire to figure it all out now, to pressurize us into a situation where we can think about the future from a totally different set of eyes. Because again, the foundations that many of us have been solely reliant upon for far too long are crumbling right under our feet.